So as promised, it's Sunday in the model room, no messing about today. So I have done a little bit of extra ballast this morning, and then I thought, no, first coat of glue needs to go on now. So what I'm going to do, get the hill coated in glue, first coat of grass on. I'll film just little bits of clips of that, so that'll be that until the second go at it. So here goes. So if I crouch down temporarily here, I'm obviously going to get this part into shot for you so you can see actually what I'm doing, but the glues I'm going to be using is this one here. I'll show you this. So that's the basing glue. That's going to be my first kind of layer of glue that I'm going to put the first lot of grass onto, and then the subsequent layers I'm going to use this layering spray. Can you see that? So in between each, because it makes the grass sort of go quite stiff and rigid, and then bonds the next layer on nicely, I find. So I can't stop in this position for the whole of the gluing, so you're not going to see me, but you'll see what I'm doing more importantly. So let's get on. So as you can see, I've just obviously poured some glue on. I'm just going to, I put hopefully enough on. If not, I'll obviously have to put some more. Let me tell you that. So I'm now just going to obviously spread it out with a brush. So Ayers Rock will be no more hopefully after today. Well, it'll still be here, but it'll just be a different colour. So this is when you find out just how good and solid everything is, how it's going to work hopefully. I want to get every single centimetre covered, hopefully. And just work the glue nicely across it all. I think I'm going to need a bit more down on that part. You can hear how crunchy everything is. I don't know if that's coming up on the video. So there, I'm definitely going to need a bit more glue, I think. You see there's a little tiny bit of movement in my textured areas, but that really doesn't matter. As I say, there's going to be nothing weight bearing, no sort of pressure into there, so the part of just the grass sticking to, I'd prefer the texture over sort of the rigidness of it. I might have to do that part from that side actually. So, and of course today it's all clothes for this job. You don't want to excuse my attire today, but you don't want obviously your favourite tops getting glued up or grass. So I got, as I'm sure we all have, a little special kind of wardrobe of clothes for when you're doing this. Right, that's this side more or less covered. So next stage, I'm going to fetch the grass. So as you can see, I look down again. Try not to glue my hair to it. So there you go, it's completely covered now. First layer's on, and as you'll remember from previous videos of mine, or for those who are perhaps a new one here, my grass of choice is the Noch. So again, I don't use applicators. I know some people say it gives it a more realistic look, but I think it depends on the look you're going for and what you actually are trying to achieve. Perhaps I just prefer to sprinkle it on myself, and I know it doesn't stand upright, but this is going to perhaps be an unpopular opinion, but I have seen layouts at exhibitions and things where if it's a bit too uprightish, that doesn't look right either, because it's very rare to me, particularly, you know, if it's somebody's carefully tended, mowed back garden, yes, it will stand up nice and straight. But for this kind of thing where, you know, animals tread over it, people walk over it, animals eat it, it's very rare to me that you see perfectly upright grass in this kind of scenario. It's always kind of often a bit flat, a bit trodden, particularly with our great English weather. And as I say, if you've got particularly, you know, cows or sheep or even just ramblers on it day in, day out, you know, it's more sort of lying to the side than standing upright. I mean, if you're creating a perfect village green where, I don't know, the community cares for all the grass and the landscape in the village, and everyone's got nice, tidy, turned out gardens, then yes, I think upright grass is a place for it. But also, actually, I did look at one, if I'm honest, when I went to Worley in November. I looked at the Noch stall. They got one, and they were like doing demonstrations. I'm sure a lot of you probably saw, and probably each manufacturer had their own. I particularly paid attention to theirs because I prefer their grass personally. Again, it's personal choice. But you know, it was quite expensive, I thought, for something again you can just do yourself. And yeah, it might not be the finish to everyone's taste, but as I always say, as long as it's the finish to your own taste, then does it matter? So I decided against it. I thought, you know, I could buy another loco for that and keep using my hand. So I don't know, maybe when I've finished, I'll perhaps try and do a close-up, perhaps diddle squat, because that's more or less finished. I probably have got some little bit of playing about and tweaking on that landscaping. I'm actually also thinking if there's a way I can inject a little bit of height there, even though it involved going over what I've already done. But I think priority is probably get everything else done before I start messing with something that I thought I'd already done. So hence this. So I don't know how well this is showing up, but can you see? You can probably see it's changing. I tend to say just take a handful of this because I think it's such fab stuff. It's not like I'll show you closer. It's not like, I think it's Jarvis, where it's like little tiny beads almost, and it falls quite, well, a bit like the grey here, falls like that, but green. To me, that's not realistic. You need something with fibres, which I suppose would work perfect with an applicator. You see that? Is that showing up? But you can also, I just think it works fine working it with your hand too. So I'm hoping it's showing up. I suppose if I was clever, what I should have done was put some glue on that area and grass it at the same time. But never mind. I like creating myself extra work and longer jobs, it seems. So I don't want this obviously going on top of it, because as I said, it's the first layer. I can stretch over there. I might have to go around that side just to make sure I'm covering okay, because you can't really see accurately what I'm doing there. So I don't want it being too blocky. So for a first layer, I think it's going on quite well, personally. Occasionally you'll get slightly, you know, where your fingers do let a slightly bigger clump go. But again, to me, for cattle fields, that's realistic. Because rather than having rather than having the, as I say, the perfect upright grass, I think it's better to have flatter areas with then clumps, because that's more realistic to me, sort of where sort of the sheep or the cows have munched and then left longer pieces. So as I say, it's all about what's in your own imagination, I think, and your own ideals. So if you're having a go at a layout, bit like here, and you know, you've got people saying, oh no, you don't want to do like that, you want to do like this, and you know, that let them do their layout like that. If you want to do it differently, do it. I think it's the same. Reminds me sort of, I always remember I studied like English literature A level at school, and my teacher always said to me, there is never a wrong answer. As long as you can justify and explain your answer, there's never a wrong answer. And I think that can be applied to a lot of things in life, especially landscape modelling. Now I'm waffling because I tend to waffle as I work. If I can't have music on YouTube, then I have to waffle. I can't have silence. Those who may know, who have met me, know I can't have silence. So if it's not music, it's talking. Or both, even better. So that, more or less, is now, I'll come round that side in a moment, but that, hey, can I correct on? There we go. More or less the first layer now done. So perhaps I'll give you a quick closer look and then let that dry. Have some lunch. Where's my buttons? There we go. There you go, closer look. You can see it's not perfect coverage at all, but for a first layer, because where the glue's thicker, such as, there we go, sort of around here, there is grass there, but because the glue is thicker, it's not showing, but when it dries through, it will. So there we go, first layer done. And see what I mean about the odd clump that's fallen? To me, that's far more realistic kind of animal land than perfect straight grass, as if it's just been mowed. So, just my preference, as I say. No right, no wrong way. So there we go, back in a few hours. So, the first layer's on. I went round the other side, I didn't bother putting that onto camera for you. So it's on, ready to dry. What I did take the liberty to do whilst it was all glued and ready is around the track edges between there and the grass, I put some of my blended turf mix down that I like to use sort of all the way around on the edge of the ballast. So I'll work on a multi-tonal finish there by using some of my Jarvis Brown Earth, the blended turf, and it's a very fine layer of the Noch grass mixed in. So you'll have sort of like a multi-tonal effect, so it won't be flat. So I think it's going to take a little bit longer than me eating lunch to dry, so I'm hoping perhaps sort of mid to late afternoon it's going to be ready for another layer. If so, I can then get a third one on sort of evening time, but it's looking at how well it's showing up, but there is a lot of wet areas. Obviously it's then just finished, so it could be unpredictable, so I'm not sure how well it showed up when I did the close-up. When I come back and film again, I'll show you what I'm doing, sort of what I just described on the track edge too. So, right, that's all we can do for now.